Everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. You wake up at O'Hare. You wake up at SeaTac. You wake up, and for a fraction of a second, you don't know who you are. This isn't just movie dialogue. This is the clinical definition of a fugue state. It is the terrifying reality of a mind that has decided the only way to survive its own existence is to leave the building. Most people watch the film and see a story about fighting. They see Brad Pitt, they see blood, they see rebellion against the corporate machine. They are wrong. They are looking at the finger pointing at the moon, missing all the heavenly glory, or in this case, the hellish descent. The film is not about anarchy. It is not about anti-consumerism. It is a precise surgical documentation of the masculine ego collapsing under the weight of three specific failures: the failure of the father, the failure of God, and the failure of purpose. You are not looking at two men. You are looking at one tragedy. Insomnia is the first symptom. It is the brain refusing to shut down because it is terrified of what happens in the silence. When you can't sleep, nothing is real. Everything is far away. This distance is called dissociation. It is a defense mechanism. It is a biological airlock. It protects the conscious mind from the radioactive toxicity of a life lived without meaning. The narrator doesn't suffer from insomnia because he drinks too much coffee. He suffers because his spirit is rejecting his reality like a bad organ transplant. He buys furniture, he organizes condiments, he defines himself by the contents of his refrigerator. This is the IKEA nesting instinct. It is the attempt to fill a spiritual void with physical matter. And when matter fails, the mind cracks. Let's look at the architecture of this break. The human mind is a fragile ecosystem. When it is starved of genuine connection, starved of struggle, and starved of identity, it doesn't just shut down. It innovates. It creates a solution. Tyler Durden is not a villain. Tyler Durden is a survival strategy. To understand why, we have to perform an autopsy on the modern psyche. We need to cut through the skin, saw through the bone, and expose the gray matter. There are three distinct stages to the narrator's radicalization, 3 steps down the ladder. First, the emasculation, the realization that he is a result. He is a byproduct of corporate spreadsheets and recall formulas. He has no agency. Second, the substitution. He replaces genuine emotion with the voyeuristic consumption of other people's pain. Testicular cancer support groups, blood parasites, brain tumors. He cries into the chests of dying men not because he is sad for them, but because it is the only time he is allowed to feel anything at all. He is a vampire of sorrow. Third, and most critical, the projection, the creation of the ideal self. Carl Jung called this the shadow. The shadow consists of everything we have repressed, every dark impulse, every violent thought, every sexual deviant fantasy. But in the narrator's case, his shadow isn't just dark, it's vital. It possesses everything he lacks: charisma, power, freedom. Tyler Durden is the manifestation of the shadow, but he is also the Übermensch. He is the man who looks at the abyss and laughs. The narrator is a child looking for a father. Tyler is the father who finally answers, but the answer is a fist. Consider the chemical burn scene. This is not torture. This is baptism. In clinical psychology, we talk about grounding techniques for patients suffering from dissociation. You hold ice, you smell strong citrus, you feel the texture of the chair. You use sensation to snap back into the present moment. Tyler uses lie. He burns the hand to force the mind to acknowledge the moment, to stop the dissociation, to stop the copy of a copy. The pain is the only thing that is real. It is the antidote to the numbness of the IKEA catalog. The burn is a lesson in 3 parts. 1.
You are not your job. 2. You are not your bank account. 3. You are not a unique and beautiful snowflake. This is the great paradox of the film's psychology. Tyler preaches the destruction of the ego, the Buddhist concept of detachment, but he achieves it through the most aggressive assertion of the ego imaginable: violence. It is a contradiction. It is hypocrisy, and it is exactly how a sick mind rationalizes its own destruction. We must talk about the father wound. Our fathers were our models for God. If our fathers bailed, what does that tell you about God? This line is the skeleton key. The narrator belongs to a generation of men raised by women, abandoned by fathers, and ignored by God. This creates a vacuum, a distinct psychological hollow where authority should reside. When the father is absent, the child seeks a replacement. They seek structure. This is why cults work. This is why fascism seduces the intellectual. It offers certainty in an uncertain world. Project Mayhem is not a liberation movement. It is a desperate attempt to recreate the father. Tyler becomes the father. The members of Project Mayhem become the children. They shave their heads. They wear uniforms. They chant in unison. They give up their names. In death, a member of Project Mayhem has a name. His name is Robert Paulson. Why? Because only in death have they finally served the father enough to earn an identity. This is the terror that 99% of viewers miss. They think the narrator is breaking free from the system. He isn't. He is trading a soft corporate prison for a hard authoritarian one. He is trading the credit card company for the terrorist cell. He is not becoming free. He is becoming a soldier. And the commander of this army is the hallucination of his own potential. Now let's introduce the variable that destabilizes the equation, Marla Singer. Marla is the glitch. She is the female equivalent of the narrator. She is also a tourist in suffering. She reflects his lie back at him. As long as she is there, he cannot fully dissociate. She is the anchor to reality that he is desperately trying to cut. Psychologically, Marla represents the anima, the feminine inner personality. Tyler, the animus, wants to destroy her. Why? Because if the narrator learns to love Marla, he doesn't need Tyler anymore. Love is the threat. Connection is the enemy. Tyler Durden creates a philosophy where connection is weakness. We are the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world. If you are crap, you don't need to be loved. You don't need to be saved. You just need to explode. The fight scenes, they are not about aggression. They are about intimacy. Watch the men. They don't hate each other. They hold each other afterwards. They limp away smiling. In a world where men are forbidden from touching one another unless it is in violence or sport, the Fight Club becomes a place of radical intimacy. It is a somatic release, the body colliding with another body. It is the only way they know how to say, I exist, and you exist, and we are both here. But the pathology deepens. The narrator begins to lose time. The fugue states lengthen. Tyler takes over. This is the clinical trajectory of dissociative identity disorder. The alter ego begins to consume the host. The host becomes a passenger in their own body. The narrator wakes up in strange cities, unaware that he has been building an army. This speaks to a terrifying truth about the human subconscious. It is working while you sleep. It is plotting while you drive. Your desires do not vanish just because you suppress them. They go underground. They organize. They build pipe bombs in the basement of your psyche. The climax of the film is often misunderstood as a victory. The buildings fall. The dead is erased. The narrator shoots himself in the mouth, killing Tyler but surviving himself. Is this a cure? No. This is the integration of the trauma. By shooting himself, the narrator finally...
It's the ultimate act of self-destruction that Tyler was preaching. He didn't kill Tyler by rejecting him. He killed Tyler by becoming him. He pulled the trigger. He accepted the pain. He accepted the blood. He crossed the line. When he stands there, holding Marla's hand, looking out at the collapsing skyline, he is not the same man who cried at the support group. He is a man who has integrated his shadow. He has absorbed the monster. You met me at a very strange time in my life. This is the understatement of the century. It is the voice of a man who has watched his civilization crumble and realized he was the demolition expert. So why does this matter to you? Because you have a Tyler Durden. We all do. He is the voice that tells you to quit your job. He is the voice that tells you to drive into oncoming traffic. He is the voice that screams when you are stuck in a meeting that could have been an email. Civilization is the process of keeping Tyler in the basement. It is the process of sublimation. We play sports. We watch movies. We argue on the internet. We buy things. But what happens when the buying stops? What happens when the distraction fails? The hidden psychology of Fight Club is not a warning about society. It is a warning about you. It suggests that beneath your polite, civilized, IKEA-furnished surface, there is a primal, violent, desperate animal waiting for the lights to go out. It suggests that your identity is a fragile construct, held together by routine and medication. It suggests that if you strip away the possessions, the job, and the social validation, what is left is not peace. What is left is mayhem. The film forces you to ask the question, how much of you is real? And how much is just a copy of a copy of a copy? The final lesson is not about fighting. It is about hitting bottom. It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. This sounds like freedom, but in the cold, clinical light of psychology, it is also the definition of psychosis: total detachment from consequence, total detachment from the past. The vault is open. The diagnosis is clear. You are not your khakis. You are the singing, dancing crap of the world. And until you admit that, until you look at the Tyler Durden in your own mirror and acknowledge the rage staring back, you are not awake. You are just sleepwalking toward the explosion.